Hey guys, we are back talking about embodiment today. And this is one of the most fundamental and exciting and exhilarating topics to talk about. Um, it's kind of the foundation to everything. And in order to build on our fundamentals, in order to really embody a new way of being and take your consciousness, to take your awareness, to take the teachings to that next level, we really have to step into extreme embodiment. And it's the one thing that we push with everyone, starting from really small building blocks up to completely embodying a new way of living. And one of the ways that I describe this is to start living life in color again, where it's like we go from just kind of existing in the world and going through our daily routines to being like walking through with the childlike wonderment of, can you hear that bird singing? Did you see the sunshine today? Did you look at the moon? And getting like so excited about everything, going in and meeting people and talking to people and just seeing life through this really vibrant, beautiful lens.
I love that. That is like even just hearing you talk about it, I feel my consciousness, my shifting inside of me, right? You know, when we talk about embodiment, like that's the one, when you get embodiment, when you finally get what it means to embody, your world can shift entirely, right? You know, getting it is like, once you get it, it's like huge. It's huge. So we talk about embodiment. What is it? And that's a lot of the time what we're getting the question from folks is like, what is embodiment? And so we have a really simple way of looking at embodiment. And, you know, I think anytime you can make something, take a concept that seems so big, because the word embodiment is a long word. It feels like it encompasses so much, but when you can make it so very simple, then you can start putting it into practice and you can get it and shift. And so what is embodiment? Embodiment is when you take something that you have a very intellectual understanding about and you can bring it down here so that's now part of your belief system. And so what it looks like when it's part of your belief system is you're no longer questioning it. Now what you're doing is you're taking action that's in integrity with that belief. And so whatever it is that you're looking to embody, whatever concept, whatever behavior, whatever it is, when you bring it down from this intellectual understanding into that belief system, you're now taking action that supports that healthy, in integrity, whatever it may be, right? And so, you know, so it's like, just keep it really simple. If you understand something, you get it, you're still questioning it, you're at the point where most of what you want to ask is answered, and now you're like, yeah, I subscribe to that. And so now every action that I take is going to be in integrity with that which I've subscribed to. And it can be really that simple. It's just that we look at that word embodiment and we get overwhelmed. At least I know for me, initially I did go overwhelmed. You feel a little bit of anxiety rising up inside of you. And then if we're high mind-based functioning individuals, then we're sitting there going, okay, you know, how do I do that? Like, what do I do? What do I do? And so that's why we're doing this today.
Yeah. And I think like embodiment has been sold to us in a really strange way where it's like, yeah, we can tap in and we might be able to feel something. But like you said, it's taking it from like an intellectual level and having it stick, like having it really stick in us as a belief system. And I think that's where there's often a gap where you'll sit with somebody and you'll be like, oh, how does that feel in your body? Or how does that food taste? Or how does that cold shower feel? That cold plunge that everybody's doing right now, like how do those things feel in your body? And it's one thing to be able to like tap into that, and it's another thing to be able to have that be the foundation of how you exist in the world. And so it's really interesting that we actually did this video just after our last video on reframing. If you haven't watched that video, go back and watch it, because this is like the perfect next piece to that,
Segue. Yeah.
the segue, yeah, is like we reframe things on kind of an intellectual level, but then when true reframing happens, it's like we've embodied the new vibration behind it. And so we talked about not having the same energetic charge or emotional charge to things that have happened to us. And this new embodiment piece is like, okay, once I get the hang of reframing and really embodying and allowing myself to drop into that space, then we find ourselves going into the world and having those same types of triggers or the same types of experiences. We talked about the flat tire moment, where we go into that flat tire moment now with this new embodied belief system. And we recognize that we don't get charged up the same way. We don't get hit with it the same way. We really like are able to flow with life. And what used to seem as these like massive mountains of excitement and then these valleys of discomfort or not feeling so great, they kind of, it's not that those situations um become less, it's we become more able to deal with them and balance them because we've worked with this embodiment piece so much, where it's like I can feel the sensations that rise up in my body. And when we talk about, if you've worked with us or heard us, we talk about us being three pieces: the mind, the body, and the soul. And so the mind speaking through that narrative and unsupportive thoughts, the body speaks through sensation, and the soul really speaks through that surrender piece. And so most of the time when you're doing work on yourself or kind of stepping foot on this journey, we talk about quieting the mind with more mind-based activities, which is kind of counterintuitive. And so we flip the
Mhm.
script in shifting into high gear, and we really focus on activating the body. And so before we even get to this, like embodying new belief systems and new narratives, it's like, let's wake ourselves up and allow ourselves to just feel things in general. Like when we see colors, do we recognize how that color resonates with us? When we are in groups of people or in certain situations, places, things, how do those things feel to us? And we really activate that body aspect, which naturally and organically quiets the mind.
Absolutely. It's like regulating. You're regulating the central nervous system. And in regulating the central nervous system, your mind quiets organically. And
Mhm.
like you share, like, we witness it, quieting the mind is like $1 billion industry. I'm sure of it. I don't have the exact dollar figures, obviously, but I go into the bookstore. I take online courses. And I mean, I watch what people post on social media all the time. And so much of it is, here's what you need to do to quiet the mind. And it's always focusing on quieting the mind and the mind and the mind and the mind. And it's because we have been stripped of the idea that we are more than just the mind. And I remember that quote from Mike Tyson, who said, you know, we just have to quiet the mind in order to be stronger people. And it's like, whoa, wait a second. Why, or we have to train the mind to be stronger, right? Like it's almost like resiliency, because resiliency in my world is a mind-based functioning thing, right? Let's be stronger. Let's use our mind to be stronger. Well, how about we allow the mind to do what it needs to do, right? And at the same time, we activate that surrender, we activate that soul-based functioning, and we activate the body-based functioning, that feeling sensation, and witness the mind quiet organically. We love it. We recognize it's still a part of us. We recognize that it's going to produce thoughts that are not supportive or truthful, but we don't take action any longer in support of them. And like I said, that whole quieting the mind thing is like this massive conglomerate of an industry where people are buying and buying and buying and finding out this isn't working, so I'm going to go over here and try this. I'm going to spend my money over here, and then I'm going to try and spend my money over here, and it becomes this rat race of investing in quieting the mind, when really and truly, again, keeping it simple, we can keep it simple and regulate our central nervous system through activating the body-based functioning, activating the soul-based functioning through simple activities like sucking on a lemon,
Yeah.
taking that cold plunge or doing cryotherapy or reminding the body what it feels like to be weightless by floating in a float deprivation tank for an hour, whatever it is that allows you to support yourself. And it's not self-care, because self-care is something that we again, another billion-dollar industry. Self-care, it's not about self-care, it's about, for me, it's about choosing health. It's about choosing my health over disease and dysfunction. And so when I frame it that way, I'm more willing to dive in and do some of those regulating activities that quiet my mind organically.
Totally.
And here's the other thing, when I'm doing them, because I've looked at it from the place of this is my dharma in control of my health, in support of my health, when I look at it that way, I have embodied the concept. This is why the tendency to fall off the wagon doesn't happen as much as it might be if you've just embodied the idea, oh, I need to self-care. Well, everybody needs to self-care. But this is not about self-care. This is about supporting yourself for the long term and to be the healthiest, happiest person you can be in
And
relationship.
even for self-care, like it's one thing to just like have a bath or have a spa day or go for that massage. But if you're not embodying those things, what's the point? Like we're really missing
Why
that
am I doing that? Why am
yeah,
I
why
doing that?
am I doing that? And it's so funny because I don't know, we stepped onto this journey relatively around the same time, within a year or two of each other,
7 years.
like so long ago. And this is by far one of my like favorite things that I have made this my dharma. Like it's really my soul's mission to like experience life to its fullest extent. And that means the entire spectrum of life. I am willing to, yeah, get open, get expansive. Like I am willing to feel heartache and feel sadness and feel shame or grief, because that's opening me up on the spectrum to also feel like ecstasy and pure love and unconditional like expansion in this space. And that has really become like the foundation of when I work with clients, is like I want you guys to get excited about feeling the entire spectrum,
Totally.
not just the good things, not just the sunshine and rainbows, but like being in that darkness, in the dark space, and being excited about being there, because it's opening these different portals in us and it's giving us this deeper awareness. And with the reframing piece, we take those moments of darkness or discomfort and turn them into our strengths, turn them into our superpowers, turn them into our lessons that like help us experience the lighter end of the spectrum in a deeper way, where we can like really savor it and enjoy it. And I think that that's what like life is about, is opening us up to that complete spectrum. And like you said, once we open that up, we calm our central nervous system down, which is actually like the space of healing within the body. It's like we get out of our own way and allow our body to regulate itself.
Mhm.
Even when we talk about hormone dysfunctions or irregularities, that's the body naturally trying to regulate itself. But a lot of times we've been conditioned to think that, oh, my body's in dysfunction right now, it's not working properly. No, your body's doing exactly what it's been designed to do, which is to like send this out and do this and try and send this out to regulate it. And sometimes if we can drop back into that embodiment piece and really activate the language of the body through sensation, we find that our body can regulate in a healthy way without like overdoing it in all of these areas, like over sending this hormone or
Or forcing
stopping.
something.
Yeah.
Right?
Like we really get into this organic flow state where we recognize that, yes, there's going to be ebbs and flows, but we're excited and comfortable in all of the things.
Yeah.
And that's where health resides. That's where we become our most authentic and genuine selves. That's when life becomes exciting again. And we really like start to embody life in a completely different way.
You just opened a window up so that we could see what your journey looked like from the place of embodiment, right?
Yeah.
Like here, I have embodied this, and this is what my life looks like. You know,
Mm.
this is what the expansion feels like. You know, that was awesome. That was
And I
so
think like the important part about that too is like everyone recognizes the person who's walking down the street with their headphones in or whatever, with this smile on their face where they're just like jamming, like they're just like radiating this excitement. And we always talk about like when you are that type of person, you subconsciously invite other people to do the same. And like we all get this, like we talk about our soul being tickled, like when you see someone who radiates authenticity and radiates embodiment, it shows. Like it is a infectious, contagious bubble that goes around this person. And that's what excites people to be like, what are they on? Like, what are you doing? And how do I
I
get
want some
some
of
of
that.
that?
I want some of that. And I think, you know, it's really important to also point out, you know, you can be a person who operates from a place of embodiment, right? And you can also have boundaries, right? Because
Yeah.
even though you're expansive, you can still have those important boundaries around. In fact, I feel like when you operate from more from embodied state, the boundaries are very organic as well. So when we talk about the mind quieting organically, I think also that your boundaries start to show up in a very energetic way. And a lot of the time you're not even having to do anything in order to set those boundaries or force those boundaries, that they're also very, you know, they're very organic. And so, yeah, so it's like, you know, I love the analogy of walking down the street. It's like, you know, and I love when I walk down the street and I've got that vibe going on, and, you know, I look at, you know, at the person, you know, passing me, and they've got a big smile on their face, and it's like, hey, and it's like, hey, and, you know, and then, you know, it just, I mean, you know it, you feel it, and you
Yeah.
recognize and you vibe along the same lines as folks who are also operating from their level of embodiment. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
I love it.
Awesome.
This is such a good conversation. There's two things that I think we're going to do videos on now. One, resilience, and two, boundaries, because those are
Love it.
whole topics all on their own.
Watch this space for them. They're coming soon.
Yeah. Okay. See you guys.
Bye.